All right, Mohammad Khazali, Samuel Macleod, welcome to the studio.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
Nice. Welcome back to Finland. I remember both of you were here last year presenting at this conference, and this year you were co-presenting. Mo, would you like to tell us a little bit about the talk that you just gave?
Sure. So the talk was a bunch of different disparate concepts that I think we took together and mashed up and saw what you could create if you took server-driven UI, you took some real-time edge-synced data and just put them together, what experiences and what collaborative applications you could build. So it was taking a little bit of what we both do together and trying to mash them together and show that you can create really cool front-end experiences. So that was what we were talking about.
Nice. And Samuel, all of this was built and powered by Cloudflare, and you are a Cloudflare systems engineer. How was the experience of using your own tools to build an application?
Pretty good. I definitely have a lot of bug reports for certain internal teams, but it was pretty good. We tried out Cloudflare Calls, which is a very, very pre-alpha feature for video calling, and that went really smoothly, and that was pretty cool. And yeah, durable objects and workers and Wrangler have all been pretty solid. But it's always nice to get that dogfooding experience with the tools and use it as a user rather than the person developing the tools.
Nice, yeah. I really enjoyed the whole theme of the segment. It was like Edge, and the talk after you also turned out was built on Cloudflare. So it was great synergy there. What other talks are you excited to see here? What other themes of the conference did you sort of come to see?
Yeah. So we had the AI themed talks just previously to them, and I thought they were very good. There was a talk that Maggie Appleton did that was around how do you take LLMs and bring them down into the very basic form. And I think that's very relevant. Everyone's keen to learn about LLMs and AI, so incorporating that was very interesting. There was a talk at the very beginning about Quick, which was very interesting, and the TypeScript compiler. And so Rachel Neighbors is also giving a talk later on at the end of the conference, and they're always doing really, really cool and fun talks. So it seems like it's going to be a really cool crowd of people. And what I love about this conference is it's not siloed into any specific technology. It's really a conglomerate of different front-end technologies. We talk about Edge, AI, CSS, whatever you have, and very rare these days to find those non-specialized conferences, and they're quite a gem.
What about you, Samuel?
I think there's a talk on TC39 coming up that I'm quite excited about. That seems kind of interesting, and the collaboration process and how you can get involved. That seems pretty cool. But yeah, I think echoing what Mo was saying, there was a talk last year about building what was it?
A talking hamster.
Yeah, talking hamsters. And I think there's so many interesting topics, and it's always cool seeing the things people come up with.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, let's hope that our finale this week with Steve Ruiz's Make Real will blow people's mind as well. So you were here last year. Now you're here again. Hopefully we'll have you back next year. What would you like to see happen in this field in the next year? What are we on the cusp of? What is the future that we're going to be talking about in next year?
So I think what we're going to be seeing in the next few years is the front-end scene, I think, is going to start shifting a little bit, because obviously we've gone through this big paradigm shift with React, with RSCs. Some people like that, some people really don't like that. So it may or may not be an Angular 2 moment. So I think it's a good time to come out of the silo of React, which I think the front-end ecosystem has been in for a long time, and just explore all of these different frameworks that are there, the different technologies. What can you do with just JavaScript? What can you do with CSS animations, like the talk that Rachel's doing later in the conference? And if you bring all of these things together, I think it's a good time to analyze those different alternate technologies. And so, like Andreas was saying in his talk, if you caught that, there might be Signals as a consolidated technology. So that might mean that it's Angular or Solid or some other technology. Maybe we'll get rid of hydration altogether and just use resumability. So it's an interesting time to explore some of these different concepts, because who knows, maybe the industry goes in that direction, and it seemingly looks like that might be the case.
Nice. And Samuel, what do you see in the crystal ball?
I would love to see React kind of lose a bit of its dominance and a bit more kind of exploration of alternative frameworks. Maybe lose its dominance is maybe a bit overkill, but it would be really nice to see kind of much more exploration in other frameworks. And as things like Quick City and Solid mature, it would be really interesting to see how that then influences React and RSCs and kind of the cross-pollination across frameworks. And then as well the kind of server rendering and how much we can shift to the server and how much we can render things in the server and kind of go back in that pendulum swing from entirely client-side rendered and back to a bit more in the server.
Yeah, because you both work in your day job slightly different field. Mo, you're a mobile, specialist, and you're a systems engineer. So, like, what does the sort of like the state of the front end look like from the other side of the fence? Like, what do you envy, and what are you glad that you don't have to deal with?
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because, obviously you learn a lot about these different up-and-coming technologies, or what's on the edge, pun intended. Oftentimes when I'm dealing in a consultancy setting with a bunch of different clients, there'll be clients that'll come in and they're still on a very old version of Angular, or, they're on an old version of React or Next.js, or old version of React Native, and sometimes your choice of technologies that you can use are limited. But, what we were trying to kind of do with our talk here was say as well, what if you thought about it a little bit differently? What if you took all of that complex logic that you have and a little bit of the functionality and moved it to somewhere else where you traditionally might not think of moving them, and then you could have a totally new sort of tool in your toolbox. And I think that's one of the things that I see in this conference is people come in with these new interesting ideas that are a little bit different to what you're used to on a day-to-day, and it gives you a little bit of creativity to go back to your day job and think, maybe I can do this a little bit differently, even if I have some limitations with my day job.
Nice. And Samuel, from the systems trenches, what does the web dev look like?
So I don't know a huge amount of web dev, but the web dev I do actually involves pretty much no client-side JavaScript at all. Most of the sites I build are basically just rendering HTML on the server. They're very traditional sites. And yeah, that's honestly most of the web dev I do. And then I just have forms that will then call back to the server. It's very back in the 2000s.
So you two just keep coming back. Is it just a love for the conference, or do you also enjoy visiting the city or in the country?
It's honestly quite a lovely country, especially in the summer because it's just so bright. I remember the first thing I realized about Helsinki was it never gets dark in the summer, which is a weird thing, but it makes me feel happy and joyful at all times, which is lovely. There's a lot of lovely things to see here. I went to the OD, which we mentioned in our talk this year. It's such an amazing public library. I think it's just a marvel to be seen by itself. You have that church that's inside of a rock. One of the coolest architectural things I've seen, and the whole city has got this like Art Deco style architecture to it. So for me, it's a delight to be back, and I'm hoping to be back in the future and have more more Finnish salmon soup, which is really quite a delight. So,
nice. Samuel, you're from Scotland, right?
Yep.
Yeah. What's the Scottish lens on this? Is it too similar from home?
It actually feels really similar to home. I think the weird thing is I've only been here in this week in June, so I've only seen the sunny blue skies. I imagine Helsinki also has a lot of rain, and similar to Scotland. But my vision of it is this is incredibly sunny, warm place. But yeah, no, it feels quite similar to home. There's a lot of water around. There's a lot of sea. I love how close to the sea it is, and all the lakes and rivers and everything. Yeah.
No, it's definitely true. We have sunshine 365 days a year. That's the fact here in Finland. All right.